The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
I know you, your past, your future.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Imperials Xboxers, welcome to another month of the state of the Xbox Empire for April 2019. We are recording on April 20th. You know what that means. Donnie's here.
It's actually April 21st.
Dang it. I'm a day late.
That joke was yesterday, Nathan.
Well, it's April 21st, so that's why you're here. You
What were you doing yesterday? What were you doing yesterday, Nathan? How did you celebrate?
I totally forgot. I thought this was the 20th. My week has been crazy.
That's a known side effect.
I'm also hungry. I got some munchies. How about you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. How are you doing on this fine morning?
Doing pretty good. Woke up a little early. I'm cooking a ham. Got family coming over. Another podcast tonight, so it's a busy day for me. I got to cut the grass. Got things going on. Got things to do.
Oh, cut the grass. I cut the grass for the first time last week. I think it was on Thursday. And I think I had the blade set a little too low. Because afterwards, it was just like, there's some parts where the grass was a little bit brown. I'm like, probably scalped that, just a tear. So I got to put that down next time I do it. But I've got a little project I've been working on in the garage. And so I haven't parked in there a couple days, but I've been busy. I haven't been able to finish it. And that's putting together a toe-behind plug aerator. So
Ooh.
I can aerate my yard and then put down some grass seed and, try to get a little bit, nicer.
Oh, man.
Yard going.
You're fancy. Trying to turn that into the ninth green out there.
right.
I see what you're trying to do.
I just want to go outside with my clubs and practice hitting the ball, slicing left and right as much as I can because I can't hit straight. It's just one of those things. But no, it's been pretty fun. In fact, I have not been playing much games because I don't think we've talked about this since last time. But I am studying for a security exam that's coming up in less than a month now.
Now, is this one of those like Microsoft professional certification things?
This is from ISC Squared. So it's not a Microsoft one, but it's of the same, ilk.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah, it's the CISSP, which is a certified insurance or information something professional.
I think you're off to a good start. You are ready to pass this test.
Certified Information Security Systems Professional or something like that.
I know a few of these folks. I dealt with a few of the cyber security folks during Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of this stuff already, and as I'm reading through the materials and things like that, I'm placing myself in the situations I've already been in. So this is just kind of more honing in on a couple of things that I just need to. There's like 8 domains to learn and to understand and make sure you know. And so this is just me making sure that I understand all of them completely. And then I'm going to go take a test, exam, and hopefully pass it and get certified and have that on my, LinkedIn profile or whatever.
Heck yeah.
But so that'll be nice. So I've been spending almost every waking minute reading, preparing, studying, taking practice exams. Not much video gaming. So I've been playing the game of life, Donnie.
It's good stuff always. Was that your Alexa or something that I just heard?
No?
Was that on my end? I just heard something.
I do not hear the Amazon.
One of the automated
assistant.
beings spoke on either my house or your house. But the one of them is awake.
The only one that would be in earshot of me is my iPhone, which I would have to say 2 words to activate her, and she's dormant. She is sleeping.
My phone's off too. Weird. Okay.
But outside of the only game I have been playing is I got a chance a couple days ago to play a little bit of Apex Legends. So again, PS XP is our Apex Legends podcast. Go there for all your details and information. But I did get a chance to take in a top 5 finish while that event was going on, and boosted up my season pass level a little bit. So I'm now level 25 in the season pass finally. I gotta say that the progression is just so slow in that game right now.
Really?
There's not enough crafting materials, not enough loot box, not enough everything.
You got to keep playing. Just got to keep playing.
I would like to keep playing, but that's not going to happen for at least a month or more.
I was going to ask, now that they have the season pass, because I've never really played it, is it just more like Fortnite now than like ever before?
I've never played Fortnite, so I cannot answer that question.
Oh, never mind.
We are at an impasse, sir.
That's one of the. I mean, I like Fortnite, but I kind of like it in a very casual, like, oh, let's be fun. I'll play a match with my son, because it's just so easy to play. It's so easy to just jump into. It's pretty simple. You just shoot the other people. You try to live. You can hide, but like it's there's no like real extravagant mechanic, or at least that I'm doing. I've never like built those giant towers or anything like that. I've never tried to do any of that. So, but one of the things, the battle pass is fine. I mean, like we've bought a couple of them just because they have cool skins and whatnot, but it's just not something I've ever like got into, like the Kevins and the PSXP kids. Like it's just, I don't know that idea of like this constant never-ending shooter, like this loop over and over again. I think it's fun, for a night, but it's not like something I can continuously play. It doesn't hook me that way.
Right. I mean, it doesn't. Not everybody is one to play this type of game, because, like you said, for me, even before I started studying for this test, hard and heavy, I was getting kind of tired of Apex, because I wanted to play some story games. I wanted to play something else, because there is no story in Apex. It's just you drop, you play, you try to win, which is fun. I mean, and it's good for the time balance that you have. If you only have like a half an hour to play, and you don't really want to dive into a heavy story game, this is a good option. But at the same time, if you can step away and play, in my instance, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and get that thing finished, I would have a lot more enjoyment, be able to talk more about the story, like with you especially. And I have Assassin's Creed Odyssey to get to. I have the Uncharted games to finish. I've only gotten through Uncharted 2, like halfway through that. I have a lot of stuff. What?
Just skip to 4. Just go right to 4. Like, get the best that it has to offer and move on.
I can't do that. I owe it to Nathan Drake, my namesake.
That's true. Hey, I believe you. No, I remember when that trilogy came out, I had never played all of them either, and I did them all, I think, like that weekend.
Yeah.
Great little collection.
I got the PS4 bundle with the 3, so I just need to play through that and then get to 4 one of these days, but that'll happen eventually. And I want to go back to Spider-Man. There's so many games I want to play and take care of right now.
You got to quit doing all this studying and start playing some more games. We need to put some more time in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. But, so regale me, sir, with what you have been able to play.
Ooh, I've been playing a ton of stuff. I actually had to go back and write a list down. So I've been playing, all right, so I'm going to try to split this up between this show and PSVG, but I do want to say, I've been playing the Shadow of War, which I bought at Best Buy last week.
I bought that brand new digitally when it came out, and you know how much I played of that?
Less than me. I bought it last week. It was on sale at Best Buy for like $7.50. Not the deluxe DLC edition, whatever, just the game. And I was like, I didn't really like Shadow of Mordor. It had more to do with like the story and the setting. It was very like dreary, like on there in Mordor, and it's just kind of like very samey. And I got it, right? It was kind of like Batman. But I don't know. I have no idea what possessed me. Probably just it was cheap. It was a deal. It was for $7.50, which means I got it for like $5.75, right? Because like 20% off $7. And I was like, oh man, that's so cheap. I don't know. So I put it in. I think it is X Enhanced. That probably had a lot to do with it.
That was one of the first X Enhanced games.
So I put it in. I download the 4K cinematics pack. I download the other HD textures pack. I start playing it. And I love this game. Now, I'm going to go into great detail about it on PSVG, so I don't want to leave it kind of there. I just want to let you know that I love this game. I've played it 10 hours, I think, in the last 4 days. It is that kind of game. It's hitting all that same stuff for me, that it's falling in that Far Cry-like thing. I sit down to play it, and I do this mission, I do that mission, and 4 hours later, I'm like, oh, crap, I've got to go to bed. I can't stop playing it. It's really, really fun. It's just, one, you start the game off in, like, Minas Tirith. Actually, it's Minas Iliath, and that has a lot to do with it. You're just like waves and waves and waves of orcs, and I love the British vibe that the orcs have. It's never ending, like, humorous for me. For them to, what are you doing, you slob knobs? It's like, what? Why is this their persona? Like, who came? It's very Fable-ish. It's like the Fable-ish orcs of Mordor. It's amazing. So that's what I've been playing a lot. Now, last episode we left off, I told you I'd got Skyrim and Assassin's Creed 3. Mm-hmm. I played Skyrim. I have been playing Skyrim a bunch. The mods are really fun. I've never had mod games on console. I've dabbled with mods on PC. You know, you got like the workbench or the workshop or whatever it's called, and it's, to me, it's a little weird. I've never quite got it because you've got to like download them, but then install them and then boot the game, and then maybe they're there, and I don't know. I've never taken the time to learn it. With this, it's much easier. You just click open the menu, bang. Cool thing about Skyrim is that there's a mod called, well, one, there's a bunch of mods. There's ones that make the game super pretty. There's ones that make it look better. There's ones for weapons. There's ones that let you start as a different character and play a completely different story. Skyrim, the definitive edition, is insane on console. Like, it's 1,000 games right now. There's so many mods, you can do so many different things. The one that I booted up was the cheat room, because it reminded me of, you know, I was just, I guess, a little nostalgic for like old school Grand Theft Auto games where you could just like open up cheats and create all kinds of chaos. You can do that in this game. So you, it's a map to your character as a spell. So you cast a spell, and then you just go to this room where you can unlock anything. Every skill, every weapon, infinite money, whatever you want to do. Dragons, you can just call a dragon. And to play that game with that kind of power is addicting. It's somewhat intoxicating to walk into a city and just rain havoc around you. You just like walk through the gates. It's really fun. So I enjoyed that for about a weekend. I played it off and on. I'm never going to beat that game, and I don't think I ever try to, but it's fun to get in there. Assassin's Creed 3, I took back to the store.
Oh. Oh, no.
So I played this game back when it was released on Wii U, and I really liked it. And my memories of it, at least, were pretty positive. Playing the remaster, it became clear to me that either we've come so far in gaming that I have ruined my own palate, or some things are just better left in the past, like in your nostalgia. Not everything you have to go back and replay. I had no idea how long you played as Hatham in that game. So Assassin's Creed 3, you play as a Native American named Connor, right? That's the on the marketing, everybody knows Connor. That's the kid you play as. You don't get him until like halfway through the game. We're halfway through the story. You're in like chapter 5 of 10. And I kept playing as Hatham. I was like, I remember this. It's like the tutorial. Like, when does this stop? And it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And the mission design, I mean, I guess this is really just to see, it's really just an example of how far we've come. The mission design in that game is awful. It's just like, go here and get this box. Go here and kill that guy. Go here and get this box. I mean, that's really all there is to it. And like the AI in those areas, like they don't react well to your movements and things like that. And it's just bad. It's just bad. I was playing and I was like, this isn't anywhere near as good as Odyssey. Not that I expected it to be, but, you know, like you can tell the clear, you know, delineation between the two. It's not like going back to playing Uncharted 2, for example. Uncharted 2 feels a lot like Uncharted 4. You know, lesser graphics and maybe lesser story or anything like that, but similar. The games will do similar. These games feel completely different. With like a load screen every time you walk through a door. It's driving me nuts after like the first 5 hours. It's like, why does because it directs you to go to the door. So like, for example, there's a mission that starts, right? So it puts you in the street. So I was gonna say you awake. The
You
screen,
awaken in the street.
you awake. The screen pops up right? You're in the loading screen. You're in the Animus loading screen where you run around and nothing happens. The screen pops up and you're in front of a door on the street. It's like street, walk through the door. You walk through the door and then another loading screen happens. And it's like, why is this here? Why am I constantly doing this? Why don't you just load me through the door? Why are you loading me in front of the door only then to walk through the door and load me in again? It's things like that, minor things that I don't think I was, ever would have not, acknowledged back in 2012, that now it just feels out of place. You're just, why is this happening? And in a remastered version of the game, why is it happening?
Like they took a page out of the Anthem playbook almost.
Yes. But it's like one time didn't bother me, but yeah, halfway through the game, I kept looking at it. I was like, man, this is really getting annoying. And then like some of the missions in there, even then, go hide in this bush and wait for this animal to come by and hop out. It's just, I don't know. We've come a really, really long way. If anything, I think it makes me really appreciate Odyssey far more than I even did back in the day, or back in the day this past year, because Odyssey was amazing and it was great and it was sprawling and it was huge and it's like Skyrim. Assassin's Creed has become Skyrim.
Did you play Origins?
Yes, not nearly as much as you did. I think I played Origins about as much as Odyssey, maybe more. I played Origins for maybe like 25 hours. Like I played a bit of it, I got into it a little bit. And then, and I think I did with Odyssey as well. Like Odyssey, I met your sister, and I got into like the major fights, and there's like a monk temple. I did all that kind of cool stuff, but it's just so big, it's daunting. And I was thinking the old Assassin's Creed games, like in my mind, I was like, man, I'm gonna go back and play one of the old ones, like because I remember I used to like those games. They didn't take 100 hours, and you didn't have to, devote every waking hour. And then you go play it, I'm like, oh. We've come a long way this generation.
Well, that was the era, Assassin's Creed, 3. Before, in Odyssey, they essentially relaunched, not Odyssey, in Origins, they essentially relaunched the franchise as, they took a couple years off and they relaunched it, and it was more Witcher-like. It took some heavily influences from their other open world games. Excuse me. And, you go back to games like that, and you just kind of see it's a good history moment, be able to go back and see like, well, this is what things were like before in the series, how we got from A to B. But at the same time, if you're not finding enjoyment, there's no reason to kind of soldier on through it. I do have Assassin's Creed 3 as well, the remaster. I got it from the season pass.
Yeah.
So, Donnie, do you think if you would have had the season pass, or just recently, like right now, even if as we're recording this, the Xbox Live Store has this amazing spring sale going on, and you could buy the gold edition or the ultimate edition, whatever it was, of Assassin's Creed Odyssey for like $33. Do you think if you would have bought that package to get Odyssey, all the DLC, all the stuff, plus Assassin's Creed 3, that you would have been as upset with the result?
The reason I took it back, to answer your question, is ultimately I didn't find the package standalone worthy of the $40 price point. So it's like, I'm going to take this back and get what I can out of it. I think if I had bought the season pass, yes, I think I would have probably. I don't think I would have been as still would have been as harsh on it, but I wouldn't have felt as burned or as jumpy to get out of it as fast as I did, because that DLC pack that you're talking about, the season pass, isn't the new expansion that comes to Odyssey like this week or next week? Isn't it like amazing? I keep hearing about it. Everybody keeps talking about how incredible it is.
So there's like a 3-part story. First part is out. I'm not sure when the second part comes out, but it's like the Tales of the First Blade or something like that is what it's called. And from everything I've heard, it sounds pretty good. But again, I haven't played more than like 2 hours of Odyssey yet.
People are saying it's like better than the main game, is some of the stuff that I've been hearing about. People are like, this is amazing. They should release this standalone.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there's a lot of games that come out that have really great DLC that's, some people say, is better than the main game. I mean, you look at Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, the Lair of the Shadowbroker. That was really great content that added on to it. That was better story than some of that main game content. Or you look at, in BioShock, the
BioShock 2,
Lair, whatever it's called. Yeah. So
I think when you get into these big, gigantic games, we've talked about this in on other shows. I think when you get into these games that are so packed to the brim with content, when you give somebody a really good, concise story, people out there that are probably more like me probably find more enjoyment in that than they do with this never-ending game. I might get the season pass. I may jump back in because I just keep hearing great things about it. And yeah, if I had gotten Assassin's Creed as like a throw-in, I definitely don't think I would have been as as critical on it or as jumpy to get out of it. But yeah, it's hard to go back. It was hard to go back. That's what I learned. I was like, man, it's pretty rough. It doesn't feel like a remaster. It plays exactly like it did. It's just got bloom lighting and some textures. Like the characters still don't look great. It's not a remaster. I was sharing some of the early previews, and they kept talking about like, if you liked the visuals of Far Cry 5, I was like, this should never be compared to Far Cry 5. Like visually, this is not close. These are very different, very different. So anyway, I won't beat that dead horse anymore. I finished Halo 3 campaign in the Master Chief Collection earlier this month, a few weeks ago, actually.
First time? For
the first time. I had never, so when the Master Chief Collection came out, that's really what got me back into Xbox. So it was Master Chief Collection, Sunset Overdrive. I was like, I want to play these games. Those were the ones that really kept pulling at me. I never played Halo. I had played Halo. So back on the old Xbox, the OG, the Xbox, we had Halo in the family, and we played it. I remember trying to drive around. I still think the driving is like wonky, So I played it, but I have never played it. I never sat down, went through the missions, tried to, play the story. I've never played it like that. It was always just kind of like a multiplayer sandbox type of game for us. So since the Master Chief Collection came out, since I bought the Xbox, I've beaten Halo 1's campaign. I've beaten Halo 2's campaign, and I just wrapped up Halo 3's campaign. And then we've got, Reach coming out soon?
Reach will be coming out. ODST is available to you now, and you have 4, I believe, in the pack.
So Reach is the prequel to all of them, right?
Reach is the prequel, yes.
Okay. So should I play Reach before I play the other ones?
Well, you have to wait a little bit for Reach, so go ahead and go to ODST.
So I don't know if I want to play anymore. And that's not to say that I don't like it. I mean, I like it enough to keep playing. It's just I really don't understand what's going on.
In Halo?
Yeah, like the narrative, like the whole Cortana, the Arbiter. I think it's because I didn't sit down and play the entire campaign in like 2 or 3 days. I've been playing Halo 3's campaign since before Thanksgiving. Like every weekend or so, I jump in and I do a chapter or I get to a checkpoint. It's just something I keep playing, and I'm kind of playing as a casual shooter. It's not grabbing me. That's ultimately the point I'm saying. Halo, I don't think has ever really grabbed me. I think it is the sci-fi stuff, but the story I just kind of get lost into. You've got like there's generals, and you've got the rings, and you've got the flood, and you've got it's too much.
So there is a very big sprawling, universal story there with the flood and with the Covenant and with everybody in there. But what I would say to you is actually go play ODST, because it doesn't really have any connectivity directly to Halo 3's story that you just played, because it uses that engine, but it actually takes place between 2 and 3, and you're playing as these ODST, the Orbital Drop Shock Troopers, and you're playing as the Rookie, and it's kind of like this, not open world story, but one where you kind of go in your own way. And Nathan Fillion is in there as Buck, and there's some really good voice acting and really good storytelling, and it's different. The pace is different than Halo because you're not Master Chief, you're a trooper, so it's easier for you to go down, and you're more reliant on kind of being tactical rather than like the run and gun that you're used to. So it's a different approach, but also it's really good. It's definitely at least play like the first hour of it. Like, okay, hop into it and see what you think.
I mean, I've got the game. It's not, and I don't mean to say things. I like playing it. It is fun. I understand. I think playing the campaigns has me aware and at least appreciative of why people like Halo, and that's why I wanted to play it. I understand the mechanics are great. I understand how a lot of people probably feel that way with Destiny. Having played Destiny, I definitely understand. I'm like, wow, the mechanics are great. It is fun to play. It's just the story and everything. It's not like Gears. Mm-hmm. I'm very invested into Gears and the characters, and I like them. Like I want to buy toys of the characters and T-shirts and things like that.
Out of a mug.
Exactly. And I got nothing like that from Halo so far. Like, I'm just like, okay, it's neither like great, amazing, nor is it awful or bad. It just kind of is a shooter. I honestly feel I feel towards Halo how I feel to Call of Duty. It's super fun. It's super fun to play, but it is just a shooter, and I'm just going to play it. Mm-hmm. So, the last one that I played this month is I finished The Walking Dead, the final chapter.
Is that done now? Is that complete?
It's done. Completely done. Closed. Skybound, I think, is the developer that picked them up after Telltale closed, then shuttered their doors. I think Skybound Entertainment picked them up and finished it. I was really excited for this past season. I remember, I funny remember telling Jason on Nintendo Shack how I thought if the Switch could get Telltale game, it'd be a big deal. It's not a big deal. Nobody cares. I feel like everybody's moved on. I really like the final season graphically. The visuals look amazing. I really have more than all of the other ones leading up to it. Like, I really love the style that they adopted with this one, but the story, I can't say that I really appreciated, and the ending I found to be somewhat awful.
No good. So that is the one season that I have not yet played because of the whole hubbub and everything. So I'll probably just wait until it goes on the sale just to play it, because I've played everything else. I feel like I need to get some sort of closure to the character and everything. But
that's exactly what I felt. It's not a bad ending. It's just cheap. It's a cheap ending. It's like watching a great movie and he found out it was all a dream. You're just like, what? Mm-hmm. It's just cheap, and it really doesn't give you any payoff for having stuck with it this long. I feel.
So at the end, does Kenny wake up in a dream, grasping at his chest, and like,
everybody's happy, and they all go eat dinner together at a table, mm-hmm. like over soft music? No.
And Clem's his waiter and something like
that. So like the first 2 episodes really, really kind of push you towards, like one way. Like, this is how this character is, and this is, this person's issues and everything, and it's kind of making you react to it. And then in a matter of 20 seconds, they flip it, and they're like, oh, no, you were wrong the entire time. And the kid's like super mature and super smart, and you just didn't see it the whole time. It just feels cheap. It feels cheap, especially if you're bought into the universe at all. If you know anything about The Walking Dead, or you're playing within those rules, kind of the setting and the what to be true, basically since season 1, since Lee, from what happened to Lee to what happens in the final chapter, you're just like, oh, that's kind of lame. Mm-hmm. But your choices matter. There are some different paths that I found. Your choices definitely matter. A lot of folks live or die by your choices, so it was okay. It was pretty decent. So I played those: Skyrim, Assassin's Creed, Halo 3, The Walking Dead. I played some new Game Pass games. So I played Prey.
Okay.
Are you going to download them? Prey is good. Prey is really good. It's BioShocky. It's Resident Evil-ish. It's very interesting. It's like Alien. There's really I don't have a game for Alien, but like the movie Alien. Mm-hmm. It's like Alien. You start walking
an Alien game in Game Pass.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is that bad one? Is that the bad one?
I heard people liked Isolation.
Okay. I remember one that didn't get really, really good reviews, and it was all... Is that where you're on the space station, the aliens like constantly hunting you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that one wasn't good. No, so
I don't know.
Maybe with different opinions.
I think if you like horror, you'll probably like it.
Yeah, that's true. I think if you liked horror games, I think you'd like Prey. There's like horror-ish stuff, but it's psychological in nature. Like, the world kind of feels like BioShock. I know I played it for maybe 5 hours. I played it for like 2 days, over a couple different sessions. Maybe even more than 5 hours. Maybe 6 or 7. It's kind of interesting, like how the environment just kind of springs up and grabs you. There's a whole reason and story. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's all kinds of stuff like that happening. So you're never safe. You're always, somewhat walking around with trepidation, which is kind of fun. And it's go find the key card to unlock the door, to go find the file, to go find the person who gives you the thing, to go do the other thing. And so like that is like Resident Evil-ish. I beat Resident Evil, the Resident Evil 2, the definitive edition or anything. And I realized during my playthrough that as much as that remake is great, that's what remake should be. You know, if you think about Assassin's Creed 3, it should take a page out of Capcom's book. That remake is amazing in terms of being a remade game. That's another one, though, that kind of made me appreciate how far we've kind of come in gaming, because I don't think I like that formula as much anymore. You know, the whole just sprawling puzzle. You go get the chess piece to get the thing, to get the handle, turn the lever to get the box, to unlock the thing, to get the door. Like, it's just too much. It's
Did
like,
you still
why?
have
It's
to
just,
collect ink ribbons?
no. No, you can save anytime you want. But the saving does, you do have to save at the stations. So you still have to save at the typewriter. And then the saving, like, if you save too many, it lowers your grade on the game. So it's one of those things, which I actually think is extremely neat. I'd be way more interested in if games did that versus like making them very hard. You know, I don't want to tangent off, but there has been this whole, you know, accessibility debate and should games be easier? Why not? I love the idea of a game not punishing you, but grading you based on if you're playing it so-called the easy way, if you take advantages of easy things, because I think that's an interesting mechanic to appease both people. Because I'd imagine the people that don't give a crap about the grade at the end of Resident Evil, they'll save 1,000 times if they want to. They don't care. They're just playing the game. But then the people that think, oh, no, I'm going to play it the right way, the true way, and they never save, and they get a little stamp on their profile at the end. And they're like, see, I'm a great gamer. That's perfect. That's the answer. Every game should do that. I think that, like, I would love for Sekiro to do that. Like, you played it the true way. You're a true warrior, and it's like you didn't do this at all. You used every cheat, nook and cranny, and you saved 1,000 times, but you did play it. I think that's cool because it's like you know, it's like a skin. You know, it has nothing to do with gameplay. Mm-hmm. It's just extra. It's just a little thing that puts in your profile. I don't mind that at all. So, yeah, Prey's good. If you're into Game Pass, if you're into any type of horror, if anything that I said sounds appealing to you in terms of the Resident Evil side, in terms of BioShock, anything like that, I think you'd like Prey. The other game that I played was the Golf Club 2, and because that has also hit Game Pass this past month, and I feel very much how I felt after Golf Club 1. I like the Golf Club. What they're doing is really cool. I love golf games, but I don't like the Golf Club's putting mechanics, and it ruins it for me completely. And all you have to, I do like, yeah, the swing and everything is great. How punishing it is for you to hit it off the fairway, how the game looks is fantastic. I love it's so much harder, and it gives you like an appreciation for the skill that it takes to play golf. Mm-hmm. Because you can't zoom in, you know, on the pen from 300 yards out, and you can't, like, you know, hit 240-yard high arcing backspin 2-irons out of the sand like you can in those old Tiger games. Like, you can't do stuff like that. You know, it's realistic. But the putting is just ridiculously hard. You know, because there's just no feedback, really. Or at least how I feel, there's no feedback. And all you have to do to understand what I'm talking about is just Google it. Mm-hmm. Just do one simple Google search and go putting mechanics, the Golf Club 2. And there are essays written on Steam pages, on videos of people doing tutorials on how you can go to the practice putting green and learn how to do like 15 and 20-foot putts and elevation changes. There's like number equations of people doing math. To hit the ball this far, you need to bring the putter back to the backside of your foot, but add 2 inches if it's downhill or, you know, uphill and sideways. It's ridiculous. It's too much. It's the epitome of tedious, and I don't like it. So I played it for a couple hours, and I was like, yeah, this is still not doing it for me, and I uninstalled it. But it's there for anybody that wants to try it. I'm looking forward to playing Monster Hunter World because I'm loving some Game Pass.
Geralt is in there.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going to be an update. If he's not already, he's coming on there soon. And I actually have that game, Donnie. Someone gifted it to me a while back.
That's a good gift.
If you ever wanted to play it, let me know.
I know Josh and Mo said the exact same thing, that they're interested in playing it. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I've never really been into Monster Hunter, the game series. My favorite so far is Stories. And Stories is basically not a Monster Hunter game, so that probably says a lot about me. I was just very interested in getting such a cool game on Game Pass. I'm going to boot it up and see what it's like. Mm-hmm. So if it hooks me, maybe I'll reach out and try to play it. I have no fantasy that we're all going to gang together and beat Monster Hunter. It's not going to happen. We couldn't play Anthem for longer than 2 weeks. Definitely can't play Monster Hunter.
I would still go back and play Anthem, but it's not going to be for until after I'm done with the testing.
I didn't play Anthem. I played Anthem last weekend. I can't say that I'm still playing it, but every now and again I see it. I'm like on my panel. I'm like, I should play that, and I boot it up and play a mission or so.
I did yesterday because I was watching the boy and he was sleepy. I watched some of the boy. I watched some of the Marvel movies, and Iron Man is in those, and I was just like, man, I wanna fly around on Anthem again.
Ooh, maybe that'll get me then. Maybe in-game will get me. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's my book report, man. Sorry for taking so long, but I've been playing a lot of stuff.
That's fine. There is one other thing that I wanted to touch on that is up my alley, you could say. I went to Star Wars Celebration, Donnie.
Yeah.
Up in Chicago. It was last
You
weekend.
took pictures with people I don't know, and I think they're famous. They had panels and stuff like that. I don't know.
This is true. So I only got a chance to go up on Monday. So originally I was going to go for all 4 days, but life happens and gets in the way, and I was only able to go on one day, which I'm still glad I got to go. Anyway, I didn't get a chance to do one of the things I really wanted to do, which was go see that Vader Immortal VR, the ILM Oculus project. So the lines for that were pretty long, and the last day we went to the closing ceremonies, which was across the street in another arena, and then we came back over, and I was hoping we could hop in line there and get in that, but they had capped the line because it was getting close to closing time the last day, so we didn't get a chance to do that, but it looked really good, and everything that I'd heard from everybody was that it was really cool. So if you have VR and you have Oculus, rather, more specifically.
Let's say I have Labo.
That's not VR. I think Lucas might have the Oculus set up. So Lucas, you need to let us know about Vader Immortal and tell me how amazing it is. Anyway, so that was really cool. I did, like you said, get a chance to meet some people. So one person specifically, video game related, is Sam Witwer.
I know him.
You may know him from the upcoming Days Gone. He's going to be the main character in that game.
Deacon.
Deacon, yes.
Deacon St. John.
That's such a like 80s action hero name, right? St. John.
I think it's a 90s. It's a 90s. That's a 90s movie character.
But
Deacon St. John.
He was very awesome to talk to. He was, I've been a fan of his specifically since The Force Unleashed originally came out. And in fact, The Force Unleashed is one of those games that made me actually look deeper into game creation and what's behind game creation, because that game was using the Euphoria engine that had a lot more, physics motion stuff, and was more built around, what you can do with these physics and everything like that. So I was really interested in that at the time, and I became more interested in how games were made, which also leads me to motion capture and other things like that. And I got to know who Sam Witwer was, and I became a fan of his work that he's done since then. He's a very prolific voice actor. Definitely in the Star Wars universe. I mean, you can see him if you're watching like Star Wars Rebels. He is Maul. If you watch, actually, he was also the voice of Palpatine at one point too in that TV show. He was also Star Killer in those games, and he's also been in Battlestar Galactica. Like as an actor, he was Oddball or something like that. I can't remember his actual name, but he was in the first season of the newer Battlestar Galactica. But we talked a little bit about video games, about things like that. He does a Twitch channel where he goes and he plays some of the games that he's been in, but also games that he hasn't been in. It was pretty fun. He did a panel there where he was playing The Force Unleashed and also commentating on crazy stuff along the way. It was really funny. If you can go and see some of that on YouTube, it's probably out there for you to check out. But we talked a little bit about how with the new game coming out, Days Gone, it's brutal, he said, quote unquote. So get ready for it. So it's not for the faint of heart, he said. I've been hearing that. We've talked about that on our Discord, psvg.blog/Discord. I think for the better part of a year. I remember Game Informer did their big unveiling, I think over last summer, over the game. They kept talking about how difficult it was, and that basically turned me off from it. I'm not planning on getting it. Maybe I try it at a really cheap price in like Shadow of War, but probably not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's the only reason why it's even on my radar is because of him being that main character again. But it's not one of those games that I want to go grab day one, and I'll probably wait just to kind of see what the reaction is to it. And if it's too crazy, I might even stray away and just kind of watch some YouTube clips. But it's I don't know. It's PlayStation 2, so we don't need to talk about that too much. Anyway,
You should be mandated to finish Uncharted 4 first. That's what you should do.
I should do. But I got a chance to get him to sign my Steelbook Collector's Edition case of The Force Unleashed 2.
That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And then I also got a chance to briefly, very, very briefly, meet both Ray Park and Ian McDiarmid. So Ray Park played Darth Maul in Episode 1. And Ian McDiarmid plays Palpatine throughout all the movies.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, the guy that I often try to imitate the voice of. You know, I love Palpatine as a character. He's probably...
Did you do that in front of him?
I did not do that.
Oh, why not? Come on.
How was he going to do that? I mean, he was
It's a serious form of flattery. Come on. You totally should have done your whole voice. And hi, I'm Nathan. I'm a big fan. All as the Emperor.
I'm not going to do that in front of him. But he's very, very nice as well. You know, they were the picture place for that because I got my picture with them, and they said, you know, no hugs, no handshakes, anything like that. But when I walked in there, Ian McDiarmid offers me his hand for a handshake, and I'm not going to not shake the Emperor's hand when he offers me his hand.
They're going to take you out. It's a trick.
That's right. So that was a very awesome time. Got a chance to get that picture. Very cool. It's going to go on the wall next to Stan Lee because those are some of the people that are just formulatory, whatever, to me. Anyway. Oh, awesome. And I also got a chance to, again, meet the gracious Mr. Timothy Zahn, which I don't know if you know who that is, but he is an author in the Star Wars universe. He wrote the Thrawn books back in the day, so he created the Grand Admiral Thrawn character. Probably the best, in my opinion, writer of Star Wars novels. Whenever he writes one, I'm always excited to read it. And he's got a new Thrawn series coming out now. The latest one is called Thrawn Alliances. So, anyway, that was my little recap there. But really good time up in Star Wars Celebration. Next year it's going to be in Anaheim in 2020. So, Dev, you got to go there. I might go. We'll see. Maybe, possibly. And if I do go, I'm definitely going to Disneyland afterwards. So that'll be fun. But that's it for, I think, now. But Donnie, I wanted to talk to you about
Endgame. Let's do this thing. Excited. It's a week away.
I do want to talk about Endgame. Like I said, I was watching all the Avengers movies yesterday. I watched Avengers, and then I watched Avengers 2, and then I watched Civil War, and then I started.
I love how easy it is to derail you, and just like Star Wars. Let's do this. I am excited for Endgame. Like, you know, I know where you're trying to get to in the podcast, and I'll just continue to screw it up. But yes, I'm very excited for Endgame. I can't wait.
I'm going to see it on Thursday and then again on Friday. I'm stoked. I'm really excited for it.
I have to see it on Saturday because it's a 3-hour movie. And if I went after work, my kids would definitely fall asleep. The funny part for me, though, is that my wife and my daughter are leaving. They're going to Alabama because my daughter is filming as an extra in some movie that she gets to go to. It's like some Christian movie or church-based movie, or her church group is going. I don't know. I don't really pay much attention to all that extra stuff. They told me. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But I told them, I was like, yeah. So me and Jack are going to. You're going to go see it without us? I'm like, hey, it's not my fault. You planned to leave the week the movie came out. That's on you. You go find your own time. I was like, I'm definitely not waiting to see this movie. Mm-hmm. I'm upset that I'm waiting till Saturday.
I cannot wait to see this movie, and I know there's certain people that I know that have seen it already, and I am very jealous. So we have to avoid any, potential conflict of spoilers there. But yeah, so Thursday I get a chance to see it, then I get a chance to see it again on Friday, so I'm super excited. I almost forgot this, Downey, before we move on to the piece de resistance. Star Wars Fallen Order was announced. Well, not announced, but officially, showed a trailer, got more look into the game, talked to some of the developers and some of the talent that are included in the game during that panel. Did you get a chance to see any of that?
Yeah. I didn't see the panel, no. I saw the trailer. Okay. I've seen the trailer a few times. I watched it a couple of times. I saw it when it came out, saw GIFs of it, and then I saw it later. And then when you guys are peer pressuring me to jump in, I watched it again before I actually decided to, in fact, jump back in. And so, yeah, I'll be there.
Very nice. So what were your initial impressions of the trailer?
To be quite honest with you, I didn't really have any.
Ooh.
It was a Star Wars trailer, right? So it looked like Star Wars. You're in the spaceship and stuff's happening, and the dude's got, possibly force powers, and it looked cool. I didn't, know a whole lot of the characters. I don't know a whole lot about like the era. I don't know who Thrawn is, and I don't read books and things like that. So
You don't read books, Donnie, ever at all? Oh, come on.
not really, no. So I'm not a Star Wars.
I don't read good.
I read very well, actually. Just don't like to. Yeah, I mean, so like Star Wars, I really like Star Wars. I like the movies. I would say I'm a fan, but I definitely wouldn't put my fandom up against anybody else's. So when they talked about story, I mean, the thing that got me the thing that's got me excited is, one, it's Respawn. And I played the Titanfall 2 campaign when it hit EA Access and loved it. So, two, it's a single-player campaign game. So that has, way more for me than anything else. And then, look good. It looked like they're going to tell a pretty decent story. As I understand it, the story is set after Order whatever, 76 or 86 or 1996.
66.
66, there you go. So this is when Anakin goes off to kill all the Jedi, right?
More or less, yes.
Yeah, so like in the movies, that's what it's portrayed as, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just Anakin; it's all of the Imperials, right? But that's when Anakin like kills all the younglings and does all the stuff. That's when it's bad. So you're playing, I guess, as a Jedi who's being hunted.
So you're playing as Cal, who is a Padawan that escaped Order 66, and is on the run, constantly trying to suppress his, desire to use the Force, because once you tap into the Force, other Force sensitives around you might be able to sense that. And there's Inquisitors, and I think the second sister was the one that was shown in the trailer, which, if you're familiar with Rebels or the Darth Vader comics, you've seen the Inquisitors before, and you've seen the different brothers and sisters in the Order. And they are tasked, they are Force sensitive, and tasked by the Emperor himself to destroy the remaining Jedi. So, Vader's not the only one out there hunting them down, because there's so many of them that are around, I suppose, that these Inquisitors are out there doing that as well. So you're escaping, you're running away from them, you're also trying to just blend in. But, as we can see from the trailer, things will happen that will cause you to make decisions that bring you out of hiding.
There you go. So that's an exciting, I guess, timeline or time frame, period of time to be in terms of the story. My feelings on the Star Wars stories, at least from the movie perspective. We don't have nearly enough heel work. We know that the Empire is the evil big bad, but we really don't see them doing a whole lot of crazy evil things. If anything, they lose a lot. They kind of get beat a lot. So I've often, as a fan of the movies, I'm just like, I don't understand why everybody's so scared of them. They always lose. You would think after 9 losing efforts that somebody would be like, really, they're not that bad. Like, it's just like one of these sides has a much higher winning percentage than the other. So I'm hoping that at the end of this movie, we end with, I guess, us being struck down by Darth Vader. Like, that's how this movie should end, right? Like, if it's canon.
The game, you mean?
Yeah.
So if
we should square off against Anakin, and he like just totally puts you to sleep.
If Vader is like the final boss in this game, then yeah, I mean, you're dead.
And that's gonna be awesome.
That's how the story should end.
I'm there for that alone. I need more Darth Vader actually doing awful, terrible Darth Vader things. I need to see more of that.
Like, if the last level is like Vader hunting you down and it's like menacing around every corner, it could be Vader. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
So anyway, that was my little sidetrack there. But I want to talk to you, Donnie, about power.
Horsepower.
Lawnmower power. I want to know how many cc's you got in that engine. So, Donnie, we have had announcements or leaks or speculations, take it what you will, about the PlayStation 5 being a new powerhouse out there.
Oh, that was an announcement. Yeah,
that was an official announcement.
Okay. First party PlayStation, they came out and said about what they. Now we have leaks about what Xbox is doing as well. So you can maybe play a comparison between the two, but no, Sony's first out of the gate with at least at face value, like initial spec scope.
Mm-hmm. So here's my thought on the announcements of what's coming in their guts of the new systems and things like that, they shouldn't announce the specs like this far out, because that's just giving the competition time to prepare and pivot and change if they need to. I mean, we both know that production has probably already started on all these new things, but there could be revisions made before it's out, push back their release date a little bit, and Xbox then all of a sudden has, again, the powerhouse. But I think that, especially in this Phil Spencer era, with the release of the Xbox One X, they have been leaning into, the most powerful console. They want that moniker. They want to retain that moniker as they go forward. I believe that Xbox will probably put out the more powerful console, but the question I have for you, Donnie, isn't really who's going to be more powerful. The question is, what do we do with that power? What is the important thing that we get from having that much power? What have we seen from the results of the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X that make the power worth talking about?
So, for me, power is important, which is hypocrisy because I'm also a Nintendo Switch owner and a big Nintendo fan, and Nintendo doesn't do anything with power. But with that said,
but you're playing with power,
right?
Isn't that another moniker for a bit?
I own both for different reasons, and I think that's okay. The reason why I own console games in terms of PlayStation and Xbox is power. Do I think it matters? Yeah. I bought PlayStation 4 this gen after I've been a 360 person because it was cheaper and more powerful. And it was like, why wouldn't you? At that point, like, Xbox really stepped on their own feet coming out of the gate. Why wouldn't you buy a PlayStation where they weren't really giving you a whole lot of options or reasons to not buy one? The reason I bought an X and really kind of swung back the other way is because of power. And these Pro upgrades that we got were 4K resolutions, stronger frame rates, more visual fidelity, and I think it showed. It's shown in game. It's showing in Shadow of War. Shadow of War is gorgeous at times. Far Cry 5 is absolutely stunning. These are games that I want to play. I'm excited to see what Monster Hunter World. If anything, I'm excited to see what Monster Hunter World looks like. I'm going to play Fable 3, which just got announced for being X enhanced. Like, even the old stuff that we're playing looks better on new hardware. So I was really excited about Scorpio, which is why I was there, why I've been playing it. It's my preferred console of choice. If I can play a game there, any third party, any brand, any game that's on multiple console, it's the system of choice, unless portability becomes any sort of factor, which typically is not the case. It's funny, every time Nintendo Switch gets a new third party game announcement, Xbox basically gives the game away for free. They add it to Game Pass like the next week. They're like, hey, we're getting Saints Row, and Xbox like, yep, you can play it in Game Pass. Mm-hmm. That happens right after the other. And then I don't blame them. It's exactly what I would do as well. So yes, I follow power. I want to have a real visual experience, not to the point that I want to go PC. There's a level of investment and a level of accessibility that I also want, and I'm just kind of indoctrinated and been conditioned to like my video gaming to play and operate like a console. Mm-hmm. But as interesting as the more and more we hear about these, the more and more our consoles are just becoming PCs. So I really don't know how to answer your question in totality. I mean, I definitely don't think developers are using all of the power for a bunch of different reasons. There are some things where, they need parity between the systems. There's some things where, let's say, there may be a game that has a licensing deal with PlayStation, so maybe it's not being optimized for the X. And there's other people that just don't want to put in the time or the effort. And I think that's going to constantly be an issue with the idea of a mid-cycle hardware refresh. Anytime you have these upgrades, I think the more you do that, the more that becomes an issue. But this past gen that we're currently operating in with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One X, the next gen has a lot to be excited about, and I'm really looking forward. It does look to be a generational leap in technology, which is what you should expect. That's not really surprising, but there are some things here that I think are going to blow people away beyond the teraflop number that it's gonna be hard to measure. So
I have a visitor.
I hear that.
He's trying to say that he also thinks that power is important.
Power is important.
So my thought on the Xbox One X, PS4 Pro, when we get those announcements, I'm always a fan of playing the best game that I can play, right? Wherever it's at, I want to play it and in its best presentation as possible. We've talked a little bit about with Stadia and with Nextcloud, what's that going to actually mean, as far as the best place to play going forward. However, I'm always a fan of processing on having the power where I am, right? Not relying on latency or redundancy to get me what I want, but having it there, being able to process it as needed, ad hoc. So when we first got the X and the Pros, they came out, the promise of the additional power was, we have all these teraflops now, and we can do this, and we can do the 4Ks, and we can do the 60s, and then we can do all this other stuff. And when we saw these games that we had been playing before, for instance, The Witcher 3, get these enhancements packets, and you go back in and you see, you just played it the day before, and it was one way, you played it the next day with the enhancements, and it's, legitimately, you see that jump and what it could bring to you. Now, do you think that, Donnie, that we are getting acclimated to what games look like now? Because most games that are coming out now are enhanced for whichever platform, whether it be Pro or X. So most games are coming out X enhanced. They look great. They still may not hit the 60 frame per second mark, but it's usually because they're going for that 4K resolution. So that's another question. Is it more important to be a 4K resolution, or is it more important to hit that higher frame rate? To you, what do you think?
I can hear Dev cringing, shaping fists as I'm about to answer. For me, the 4K resolution is more important. I love all the frames, and I want a game to run smoothly, but just because a game doesn't run 60 doesn't mean it's not running smoothly. A lot of single-player campaign narrative games can run 30 frames per second just fine, and it's not even a big deal. It's not even noticeable. Now, faster games, racing games, shooting games, things are happening faster, I want 60 frames a second. So I think there's no clear-cut answer, but I do prefer a 4K resolution. Typically, when I have the option to choose between visual and performance modes, I tend to go visual because I want to see how beautiful it can look. It's a big part of games, and I think you're right. At least for me, I have been somewhat conditioned. There are times where I'm playing my Switch where I'm like, man, I really want this game to look better. I keep bringing it up on Nintendo Shack. I want a stronger Switch model for sure, because anytime I'm playing an old game, I notice it. If I'm playing a game that's not X enhanced, if I'm playing a game on PlayStation 4 that's not Pro enhanced, I don't even have a Pro, but if I'm playing like an old game, I notice it for sure. Even going back to some backwards compatible games, just like, man, it just doesn't hold up. And it's not that it's awful or bad; it's just not nearly as good. And I think my eyes have been trained to it more than ever before. And it's one of the big things I really like about some of the games that I've liked most on my X is how beautiful and clear and crisp the picture is. And I cannot wait, based on the spec stuff that we've seen for next gen on both the Xbox and the PlayStation side. You're talking, do you even remove the computational power, right? Let's get out of the teraflop business. You're talking new cores, new Ryzen cores, new SSD memory, faster read-write speeds, faster or almost no load times, if at all. But if there is, very minuscule. But being able to perform what we're currently pushing more efficiently, 4K 60 should become more of a thing. At the very least, at least 4K 30, but I would think 4K 60 with the big hardware boost should really become a thing, because I don't think 8K adoption is going to be something that anybody's interested in, because I don't think we're going to have a proliferation of 8K screens over the next 5 to 7 years. Everybody just bought 4K screens, and the one thing about TVs is that people buy TVs. We see deals on them every year, but people often don't replace TVs like market wide unless something comes to push them that way, right? People replace TV sets when SD went to HD or when tubes went to flat panels. I don't think like the general consumer is going to change their TV because 4K no longer looks pretty enough. It's going to take something more than 8K to do it. And it's going to take a significant price, drop. But I'm speaking more just from utility. people stuck with their SD, TV sets for a decade until the flat panel came out, and they stuck with those for a decade until the 4K came out. Like, it's going to take a little bit more to get people to jump again. So 4K 60 should really be the benchmark, and we should have the best of both worlds. I'm really looking forward to it. And they may even do something, you could even see like 1080p, 120 frames a second. Like, you could see something that we haven't even seen then, and then what does it do? But I definitely think with the increase in power, as power increases, I don't even think it's just me. I think devs, if you look at where they put their time and the marketing and the buzz terms that they say, they emphasize visuals over performance. I think that's pretty well proven. Lots and lots of developers, 4K, look at this picture, these particle effects. They want to show you how beautiful their game is, way more than they want to talk about the frames it's running at. Like,
they want to talk about that lighting. They want to talk about the shadows.
Yes, the shaders. Look at this system. Look at that thing. And then destructible environment. They want to show you visually what they've done with it, way beyond the performance of the game. So if you're asking me, I would prefer the clear resolution picture over performance, but it's always nice to have both.
So I'm more of a proponent of the higher fidelity over the higher frames. So give me the 4K native. I love looking at the draw distances that are available and the lighting and everything else, because most games I play aren't high, fast-paced games like shooters, right? And that's really where the 60 frames per second comes into play. So you're playing Destiny 2, you want that higher frame rate. You want to see things a little bit more smoother. But if I'm playing Forza is in 60 and 4K.
Yeah, so. I know, and it's so good.
Right. I mean, there's the exceptions, right? You're playing in, especially the way I do, I play in first person, where I'm just looking at the road and moving. And to me, I can definitely see the 60 frame versus 30 frame argument there. But for most games I play, like, for instance, I've been playing hours and hours of Apex Legends, right? I'm assuming that's probably not going to be 60 frames per second, but that is 4K. And I play a ton of like RPGs like The Witcher. That does not need to be 30 or 60 frames per second to me, but I definitely want that sprawling, beautiful vista in 4K. So, like you said, both are nice to have, but if I had to lean one way or the other, I would prefer the higher fidelity. But at the same time, we have other advancements that are coming out now. So not just visually, but audially. And I talked about this last time with the spatial audio being more of a thing now, with games being mixed in Dolby Atmos and having that ability to really immerse you even more in those games. There are other things, audio, visual, combined, that in this next generation I hope we get. So I want the standard to be spatial audio. I want the standard to be 4K. I want the standard to be 100 or 60 frames per second, because once you get to 60, and everybody wants 120, then everybody wants to want 240. That will never change. You're always going to want the next thing, because people will be like, well, I can do it on PC. And I just think that when we get these higher power levels, having a minimum game standard is important. Whatever that minimum is, whether that minimum be 4K 30 or 4K 60, it needs, every game on that platform should meet that. And that's, I think, where we need to get with this next generation of consoles. However,
we talked about that, and we talked about that like this past generation. A lot of the marketing buzz when we first kicked off this generation was 1080p 60, and we never reached that. And it's really hard. I love the idea of that. You have to meet these standards, but the problem with indies and small game, like creating one size fits all standard, it's just, I don't feel like it's ever going to work. And especially when a game studio or publisher feels like if they can make their game 20% more beautiful and have more effects at the cost of minor frame drops, it's going to help them sell better. But I definitely, again, looking over specs and seeing how they compare to what we currently have now, and we're talking about a significant leap forward. So I think the next gen, I think we'll see that. I definitely feel like, to maybe create a lowest common denominator, maybe everything next gen might be 1080p 60. Everything. It's going to be really, really, there's no power, requirement to not let that happen. Like the biggest games and the biggest settings can probably run 1080p 60 on the next hardware kits pretty easily, I would imagine.
Okay, so we've talked about power. Donnie, there was a Xbox Direct recently, or not, an Inside Xbox, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And they talked about the Xbox One SAD.
That's so bad. It's so bad. I mean, it's incredibly, how did you not see this coming sad? I don't even when they put up the marketing and it's the first thing I thought of before I ever saw anybody else think about it. I was just like, how do you do this? Mm-hmm. I mean, one, I think this is a huge miss on the Xbox brand. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know who it's for. I don't understand how it's being positioned. I don't understand what it looks like. There's nothing about it. Honestly, there's nothing about the digital edition Xbox that I enjoy. I don't like that it's being included as an accessory in the Xbox One S. If you were going to do an all digital edition, why not create it as a separate product? Mm-hmm. Why make it seem related to something that already doesn't sell? I feel like stepping out of the gate, that's a bad idea. Why not make it look different? Mm-hmm. You're ripping the hard drive out. It's digital. Make it smaller. I have a theory. I don't think it's a good theory, but I have a theory as to why. But even before I get there, okay, the S and all that aside, you make a digital-only box. You're going to sell it at a premium price, which sounds dumb. Like, they know that. That's a bad idea. Why are you not going to at the very least, get anybody that adopts this into Game Pass? Nope, you're just going to give them digital game. Why give them digital games at all versus Game Pass? And the games that you're giving them are in Game Pass. Mm-hmm. Why not just – I don't understand why Game Pass isn't a part of this at all. Mm-hmm. You would think that the entire idea behind this product is to indoctrinate people to Game Pass, and then you sell the console and you give them Game Pass. I don't know. If you can't tell, I'm just like – it blows my mind. There's so many checks that this thing isn't checking that I don't get. So you get the Xbox One SAD. It's $250, mm-hmm. which is the current price of the Xbox One S. Typically is more expensive than the Xbox One S is currently carried. It comes with, Forza 3? Mm-hmm. Which isn't in Game Pass, right?
Forza Horizon 3 is not.
Right. And then it comes with Minecraft. What's the other one?
Gears. Okay. All right, so it comes with 3 cool games, but those games and everything and more are in Game Pass. So why not just throw in 6 months of Game Pass? So when this was rumored and we talked about it, I've said for a long time it should be super cheap and it should be a Game Pass machine. That's what you should. If anything, they should have called it the Xbox One Game Pass Edition or something. That's what they should have done. It should have been smaller. It should have had a different look, and it should have come coupled with 6 or 12 months worth of Game Pass. Get them hooked into it. Then they can never not do it. And then if anything, you pre-install some Game Pass games on it. Like you preset it up so they can play as soon as they open the box. Like it's plug and play. It's turnkey. Hey, you've got 100 games. That should be all over the box. Xbox One Game Pass. Over 100 games, and then like a 3DS, a little thing in the corner. Gears 5 pre-installed. Play as soon as you bring it home. Something like that. Mm-hmm. That's what this should have been. I would have accepted $199 because you could always slash $199 for Black Friday. Mm-hmm. $250 is way too much because you don't have the 4K Blu-ray anymore. You don't even have it. Like, it's not even there. Not to mention, I hate the way it looks, Nathan. Have you ever watched Silicon Valley?
Yes, a little. The first season and a half, and then I stopped, and it's one of those shows I actually want to get back to one day.
So I saw on the interwebs someone take the Xbox One SADD and put the Gavin Belson signature where the disk drive used to be. Do you remember the signature of the Gavin?
Yes. The thing that I really don't like about it is that it's bare, and it looks like fake or not real. It looks like a knockoff of an Xbox One S because the disk drive isn't there. Mm-hmm. And the analogy or the joke that I made reminds me of like a bare flat Ken or Barbie doll. Like when you see like the dolls that your kids or somebody else takes all the clothes off and they're just flat and you're like, oh, it's weird because it's not right. Something's supposed to be there. And that's what this looks like. What they should have done is they should have made the box smaller. It should have been super small, half as small. I was thinking, you remember like the PlayStation 2 Slim? Mm-hmm. Not the PS3, but the PlayStation 2 Slim with like the top loader. Mm-hmm. How small that was?
Mm-hmm. Very small.
That's what this should have been. They should have got this thing as small as they could. And they could have kept it white or black, but I hate that. I hate it. You know what? I hate it. I don't like anything about it. Like I don't think I can say anything good about it. Now, my theory is that they have a bunch of Xbox One S's that they can't sell, that they're trying to, I don't know, increase their margin on, because apparently these things are just Xbox One S's with the disk drive ripped out and a plate, because the buttons for the eject, like the eject buttons and everything, are still inside the hardware. So it's not like a different manufacturing. Like they're selling Xbox One S's just without the drive. So it's like they lower their costs and they sell it at the same price, hoping to recoup their. I mean, that sounds dumb. Mm-hmm. At like a big global level, that theory sounds dumb, but I have no other way of explaining what this is. All of it's bad. Yeah. The marketing's bad. The approach is bad. The look is bad. The price is bad. It's all bad. There's nothing good about it.
The only thing that I can see as far as the silver lining is that the $250 MSRP will probably be slashed at E3. That's why I say, no, go get it for $199 or whatever it is, right? They'll talk about it a little bit about there, but that's probably why.
Then why announce it?
Well,
right?
This is probably why they've announced it before E3. So they can get it out there on the market and get people seeing it, and early adopters will run out and get it, whatever. And then they say, okay, now it's on sale.
The only silver lining that I see in this at all is that on a marketing side, they can say that they've already shipped an all-digital box. So when they show us Scarlet, streaming next-gen Xbox, that's all digital, because that's the rumor, right? Mm-hmm. They can say that they've already done it, and the reaction won't be as big, or maybe won't be as big, because it's not the first time somebody's done it. Mm-hmm. So, but at the same time, they didn't do it well. And I saw an opportunity where they really could have pushed something. And I don't know, maybe the cost didn't line up. I don't know. But I saw an opportunity if they'd come out, let's say it was $179, Xbox One Digital Edition, Xbox One Game Pass Edition with 6 months of Game Pass. I could have really, that could have got some people in. Maybe a Switch owner, maybe a PlayStation 4 owner that wants to check out some stuff. He hears about this Game Pass. I'm always thinking like Seth. Seth is PlayStation guy. He's been playing PlayStation, loves the games, but he Forza calls to him, Game Pass calls to him, EA Access calls to him. There's all these reasons for him to do it, and he just doesn't want to make the jump. And I was thinking, look, this could have been an effort on Microsoft's part to get people to maybe make the jump and to adopt a second console. And they just missed. Not to mention, man, it is called the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. Xbox SAD. I mean, it's so bad. That's awful. Mm-hmm. They have so many people that work for them in marketing. They spend so much money. That's terribly bad. Like, podcasters can come up with better names than that. Like, anybody, any focus group that saw that was like, that's a terrible name.
Donnie, it's not bad. It's just sad.
It's just sad. It is. It is. This entire product is just sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was excited for it, but no, I'm not. There's nothing. There's really nothing to like here.
I would grab one if I ever got it on sale for like $100.
But why? So here's the thing. But why get this one versus one with just a disc in it?
Just travel.
But you could travel with the disc. It's the same size.
But here's the thing: is if
it's the same size.
if it gets to $100, the True S is never going to get to $100.
I don't know about that.
I mean, whichever one gets to 100, I might get.
At last Black Friday, there was a deal, I want to say at Ross or Macy's, where somebody was selling an Xbox One S, I think for $160 with
Ross
a game
is
included.
Where I typically think of buying my video games from.
Right. No, it was weird like that. That's why I remember it. But it was super cheap. $160. I remember it. I remember the ad. It was $159.99. It was a doorbuster. And I don't know how many they sold, but I mean, you can get an Xbox One S readily at $199, easily at $199. If you shop hard enough and you're a little patient, you can easily get them at $175. Mm-hmm. Why is this thing at $250? Even if you slash it to $199, and why announce? So you say they got it out to then be able to slash it. To me, I wouldn't do that. If I was running a company, if we ran Xbox, that makes you look weak. That you just announced the price and now you're slashing it. That makes it look like it's a failure. That's terrible.
They also wanted to get
if that
it
was
out.
the plan, what you should have done is you should have held on to it and announced it at $199 versus announcing it $250 and then slashing the price. I don't think that's going to happen at all.
Yeah, but they also wanted to get this out now because they wanted to put out the all digital box before E3 because they're going to be talking about the next gen, and if
They're
you
going to talk
put
about
this out,
an all digital box. Yes,
right? And if you put this
that
out
we
now,
agree on. Yeah,
it's less. You actually get some sales traction possibly where you wouldn't after E3.
I think at Black Friday we'll see these sub 200 pretty fast.
Yeah,
I tweeted
if I
out.
see one at 100, I might grab one. Like I said,
I tweeted out the day before yesterday. There's a deal going on. It was an Xbox and it came with like 3 or 4 games. It was $219. Xbox One S with 3 or 4 awesome games. It was like Anthem and all this other thing at $219.99, and I was like, "This drive included."
that's right.
Like I don't get it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it, Nathan. I don't like it.
Downey, I don't like it either. But we also have to come to a close for this month. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? This
Yes, there was. I want to talk about a couple things, so we'll be quick. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
It's not really Ultimate. So if you are a month to month person, yes, it's fine. It's good. You should be going for that instead of paying the individual month to month prices on both of them. But if you're like me or you and you buy stuff for annually or you buy deals, this isn't really doing anything for us just yet. Unless there's an annual purchase for this, it doesn't do anything for me.
But there will be. Like I'm not alone in thinking that
there's no annual purchase for Game Pass yet.
Yeah, there is. I've bought it.
You've bought in 2 6-month copies, which is just there's no price break. No price break.
The first time I bought it, I bought 2 years. I bought 2 annual prices, I think.
There is no SKU for annual Game Pass that I'm aware of.
Okay.
There's 6 months. I've seen 6 months, and I've seen
Well,
1
even
month.
if there's 6 months, I mean,
But 6 months is still $60, which is just 1 month.
Right. All right. So the I guess the hubbub here is that you're not saving any money by bundling.
Correct.
People want to save money by bundling, but it's the exact same price. So you're not making 2 purchases; you're making 1. So there's convenience, which I like.
Yeah, but
And then there will be discount. Everything has been discounted. Like there is no service that's not discounted. So why would Ultimate not have a discount? Like they will sell access to Ultimate at a discount. That will happen. You'll get codes that you get 40% off or something around Black Friday. Like that's going to happen.
right. So once that happens, I'll be hopping on board for sure. But until then, it's not
I'm
doing
not saying
anything
it's
for
good.
me. But I mean,
Nothing
if
you
you're
should run out to go buy right now. But I mean,
Right.
you don't like the idea of them. So I don't like the Game Pass versus the gold versus the silver and the live gold. Like it gets convoluted, man. You just need to. I want to buy access to the Xbox. Just give me that, and that's what Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is.
right, it's simple. It's clean.
I will. Do you wish they would have called it Xbox Game Pass Gold or Game Pass Gold?
That gets more convoluted than Ultimate.
It's just I don't know. They should have just like launched a new thing.
Should have
Just called it
the Phil Spencer Collection.
Just something like that. They should have called it something that just says, "Hey, this is everything." I don't know. I don't know what I've called it, but that would have been it. I don't want to talk about Sea of Thieves
Talk about
because it's getting single player content. You have these single player tales, and they showed in the Inside Xbox you get to cook and fish. I don't know.
You had me excited, and then you had me disappointed.
Well, you don't want to do the Breath of the Wild cooking stuff. I'm
Dude,
all about it, man.
I hate that in Breath of the Wild.
So
I
much
actively
fun.
avoid it.
It's so much fun. All right, so single player stuff. I will commit to at least trying it. When this comes out, I think it's April 30th. I think it's the end of the month. When this comes out, I will play a single mission of Sea of Thieves. And
I
it
will
does something
too.
for me. I want to play it.
It's on Game Pass. I will too.
I like Sea of Thieves. I like it. I want to like it. That's probably a better way. I want to like Sea of Thieves. It's beautiful. I hate playing it. I need like a rowboat or...
You said something similar when you were playing, what was it, Anthem? You're like, why wouldn't you let me love you?
Right. It's so beautiful and it's gorgeous and it looks super fun. But all I want to do is not be like I want to easily sail, and I want to like go find treasure and do my own thing. I don't want to be constantly shooting cannonballs at each other. I don't need 8 people to make the ship go. Like that's too much for me. So I don't know. Maybe it's not for me, but I'm hoping that this is what gets me back in. And then they talked about Gears of War, it's doing esports stuff, and then they announced backwards compatibility. We're getting a Ninja Gaiden X Enhanced, but more importantly, Fable 2 and Fable 3 now X Enhanced.
And Splinter Cell Blacklist is also backwards compatible now.
Splinter Cell is going to be E3. That's definitely happening.
Needs to be.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I still haven't booted up Fable 3 yet, but I played Fable 3 maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Rough. One of those, like, hard to go back to. I played Fable 2, and some of the geometry in that thing is like you look at some of the grass, it's just like this jaggy green like shape. You're like, oh, God. We've come so far. So I'm excited to see what these X enhancements look like, specifically for Fable 3. I think it's hard to go back to the other Fables. I think Fable 3 might be the only one I'd actually recommend people to go back to. Even the anniversary update for the first one is still a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
That's it. I wanted to cover those. Sea of Thieves seems cool. That could be a big deal if it can get people back on.
Yeah. I'll check it out. I'll commit to that as well. Donnie, where can people find you, sir?
You can now find me everywhere at Playing Nintendo. That's right. Xbox, Switch, Twitter, PlayStation, at Playing Nintendo. No G, at Playing Nintendo.
Nice. You got that SEO going on, brand optimization over there. Well done.
I'm just happy I don't have to keep remembering what my ID was on like this one specific console.
And for me, I am at Spider Jedi on the Xbox and all the gaming areas. But if you want me on Twitter, I'm at Voiced by Nathan. Or you can find this show at the Xbox Empire. You can also find us over at the Discord. We are at psvg.blog/Discord, something like that. You can get there that way. Come over, say hello, see what's going on and happening over there. We have an Xbox Empire channel. You can come in and join the fun. And I think that'll about do it for us this month. Donnie, any final thoughts?
I'm good, man.
Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Imperials, thank you for lending your ears for just a few minutes this month. We are glad that you came on this journey with us, and we thank you for listening. And as always, the state of the Xbox Empire has never been stronger, except now we're just a little sad. This has been a PSVG production. Any music, sound effects, or the like is owned by their respective copyright holders. No infringement is intended. The views expressed in this production are those of the individual contributor and may not necessarily reflect PSVG. This production may not be repurposed, reused, or redistributed without the express written consent of PSVG. PSVG is powered by patrons at patreon.com/PSVG. Become a patron to get special perks, including access to exclusive content.